Purple Plume thanked his customer as he handed the compass that had just been bought. In the central market of Whitelink, there were many shops, including the Wondrous Dragon, a family-run business owned by Purple Plume's parents. Almost everything from his parents' shop was either handcrafted or second-hand, with most items being traded for new ones. He doesn't enjoy dealing with customers, but days are rarely busy, so whenever he gets free time, he likes to draw on his book. It's mainly the items they commonly get to buy and resell, but scattered about are drawings of fairies. As a dragonborn, creatures so small yet so magical and mysterious always intrigued him, so he decided to doodle them, even if he doesn't know what they look like. Considering it was late in night and very few people remained in the market, he grabbed his book and began sketching. He was skimming through the pages, looking for a blank space, when he noticed something deeper in the stand, a small, bright pink light. It felt like it was calling him. After turning the sign to signify that they were closed for the day, he stood up and followed that light. Make some noise guys, Microphone here and welcome to a different type of video on my channel. One thing to know about me is that I love playing Dungeons and Dragons and for the last few years I've been creating characters for a campaign I'm running. Even though I'm the Dungeon Master, most of these characters do fit a specific class, species or even background, even if they don't have a dedicated character sheet. Which made me wonder, what if they did? At first that question wouldn't go far because it would be a lot of work for something that's just for me, but then I remember YouTube existed. Even if I wouldn't be able to play with those characters, I could at least create their character sheets and post them on YouTube for someone else to play. This also gives me the excuse to start making YouTube videos about a topic that I like, Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm not really expecting to go far, but there's nothing wrong with trying. So, what exactly am I going to be doing? I'm going to be creating a D&D character for 2024 5e rules from level 1 to level 20 and explaining why I make each decision throughout. My goal with these characters is not to make them overpowered, but rather make them feel like they are complete living characters whose powers correlate with what they would train, learn, or investigate about. For anyone who's not experienced with D&D, don't worry, I will also be explaining what each ability does when we get there. I probably won't be explaining things like spells, but any big feature, I will. Who are we going to be making today? Meet Purple Plume, a student of the Grand Avian University majoring in arcane history. Ever since he was a kid, he had a fascination with otherworldly magic and creatures, especially that which relates to fairies. If there's a page with notes about any subject he's studying, it's going to have sketches of what he imagines fairies to look like. He also works as a merchant for his family business, the Wondrous Dragon, where he sells different bits and bobs they are able to acquire to interested travelers. Overall, he's a very accomplished individual, but one fateful encounter while working would make a lifelong dream come true. Getting now with the D&D stuff. Starting at first level, we need to choose a class, species, and background for Purple Plume. While I always pick a class first and then choose a species and background that really complements it well, I'm gonna do it the other way around, mainly because it's quicker to explain the other two. Obviously, for his species, we're gonna be taking Dragonborn, which gives us a speed of 30 feet and makes us a medium humanoid creature. We also get to choose Black Dragon as our ancestry, giving us acid damage type as damage resistance and type of damage for our breath weapon feature, where we can attack with our acidic breath. Finally, we get Dark Vision and, once we reach level 5, Draconic Flight, where we gain a flying speed equal to our regular speed by spending a bonus action. For background, I've chosen Merchant. I could have gone with Sage, but it isn't as good for the class I've chosen, and I also like it less than Merchant for Purple Plume. Merchant gives us proficiency in animal handling, persuasion, and navigator's tools, as well as navigator's tools, 2 pouches, traveler's clothes, and 22 gold pieces as equipment. Additionally, we get the Lucky Feat, which allows us to gain advantage or impose disadvantage by spending luck points. Not as good as it used to be, but still pretty decent. Finally, we get to increase our constitution, intelligence, or charisma ability scores, which of course we are gonna get a +2 into charisma and a +1 into constitution. While we are on the topic, I'm also going to be using the standard array for ability scores, and I'm gonna be arranging them like this. So the final scores will also appear like this. As you have probably seen from the title of this video, Purple Plume is a Warlock, which is why we went for those ability scores. Charisma is going to be our most important ability, and Constitution is always good, especially for spellcasters. At level 1, we also get proficiencies in Wisdom and Charisma saving throw, simple weapons, light armors, and 2 skills from the Warlock list, from which I'm gonna pick Arcana and Investigation. I didn't go for the skills option that use Charisma since I only had Deception and Intimidation as options, both of which feel out of character for Purple Plum, who is calm and sincere. Arcana made sense because of his studies, and investigation just seemed interesting. For his equipment, we're taking leather armor, two daggers, an arcane focus in the form of a crystal he wears like a necklace, his book with all the drawings of fairies, a scholar's pack, and 15 gold pieces. We are going to be saying the sickle though, since I don't see him having one, getting another gold piece. In total, we have 38 gold pieces, which is really good amount for level 1. If you don't want to mess with selling items at character creations, just take away one gold piece and add the sickle to your equipment. Now we get to the good stuff, class features. At level 1 we have Eldritch Invocations and Pack Magic. I have a love-hate relationship with Pack Magic. Warlocks are supposed to be magic casters, and they are, but they feel really limiting at times. You get a number of spell slots of a specific level depending on your actual level, and you regain them after a short or long rest. At level 20 though, if you aren't able to rest between combats, you only get to use 4 spells, both for in and out of combat, which feels like a very small amount compared to other casters, especially since we will have around 30 spells to choose from once we get to that level. There's an exception to this, but we'll get to that at next level. Thankfully, it's not all bad, since we get invocations, the bread and butter of the Warlock class. In essence, they are features you get to choose from a list to customize your build. Since a lot of them give you spells you can use without spending spell slots or enhance your own cantrips, spells that don't use spell slots in the first place, the limiting factors of pack magic are not as bad since we've got other ways to use magic. We get to choose 2 cantrips and 2 level 1 spells at this level. For cantrips, we are picking Eldritch Blast, a good damaging spell, and Mage Hand, since I can imagine Purple Plume having a floating hand to help him around the shop. For spells though, we are taking Charm Person and Hex, which are more geared towards utility, but I feel like they fit Purple Plume, like I don't see him doing a lot of damage on combat. As for the invocation I've chosen at this level, I always like to pick a pact since they are the most interesting invocations, and especially at level 1, I think they are the ones that really define how your character is. We're picking Pact of the Chain, which lets us use Find Familiar without a spell slot, gives us a large variety of options, and they can attack instead of us. We are only going to be using the sprite option though, since that's the fairy, which is what this character has been made for. Now that we finally leveled him at level 1, now we get to level him up 19 more times. At level 2, we get Magical Cunning. Rest for a minute and regain half your spell slots. This is the exception I made before. At level 20, we will go from 4 to 6 spell slots, which is still very low, but it's better, I guess. We also get a new spell, and I'm gonna pick Witch Vault. It is a damaging spell, but I think we do need to have some options, even if I don't think that we're going to be using most of the time. And it also gives us free damage as long as we use our bonus action and maintain concentration, so it's a really good spell. As for our 2 new invocations, we're gonna take Mask of Many Faces and Agonizing Blast. One gives us disguised selves to use out of combat and also gives us without a spell slot, and the other is just to do extra damage with our Eldritch Blasts. Level 3, we finally get our subclass, and we are obviously gonna pick the Archfey Patron. I haven't mentioned it yet, but while I would roleplay Purple Plume as a nice, honest Dragonborn, there are some spells I've chosen that don't really fit that personality, like Charm Person. However, those spells are linked with the fey mischief that he has to deal with now that he has a deeper connections to fairies, so I still think it makes sense. With this subclass, we get new spells that we always have prepared and new features. The spells we get at these levels are Calm Emotions, Fairy Fire, Phantasmal Force, Sleep, and most importantly, Misty Step. While the other spells are nice, Misty Step is what we're really looking forward to with this class, since with our new Steps of the Fae feature, we get to cast it a limited amount of times without spending spell slot, and we also get effects with it. We are either gonna get temporary hit points or we're gonna give enemies disadvantage on attacks. I really like Misty Step as a spell, and while it isn't the only subclass to use it, I think this is the one that really brings out its full potential. We also get a new spell at this level, and when we could go with a level 2 spell, I would really wanna go in order, so we are still gonna be picking a level 1 spell. This one, Tasha's Hideous Laughter. It's fit with the mischief part of this character I just mentioned, and it adds more combat options, which I think Purple Plume really needed. Now to level 4, Ability Score Improvement. This should really be called something like New Feat because this is really what we get in this level. For these characters, I'm mainly staying with the recommended ability score improvement feat, although at level 4 I do want to choose a different one for variety's sake. What did I choose? Warcaster. I consider Spell Sniper for the extra range, but we are going to get that with an invocation later anyways. With Warcaster, not only do we increase our Charisma score to 18, but we also get advantage on concentration rolls, something which we can really use for our spells, and we also get to use spells, mainly cantrips, as opportunity attacks. The not needing semantic parts of Warcaster we can just ignore. Speaking of cantrips, we get a new one, and I'm gonna choose True Strike, since that's one we can use with opportunity attacks. I could have gone with Chill Touch, which is probably better, but I don't think it fits Purple Bloom, since that's like necrotic and death, and Purple Bloom is like fairies, so I'm gonna go with True Strike. For spells, we're gonna be getting a level 2 spell now, Suggestion, which works similarly to Charm Person, and I would pick it for the same reasons. It's just a good spell to have. At level 5 we don't get a new feature, just a bunch of new spells, invocations, and dragon wings. We could choose a new level 3 spell, but like before we're sticking with level 2. Enthrall, another spell meant to mess with people. I'm not gonna be repeating the same reasonings over and over again, mainly because you probably don't want me to say them to you, so I'm just gonna be skipping over a lot of the reasonings if I've already mentioned them before. In addition, we are also going to get the spells Blink and Plant Growth as part of our Archfey spells, and two new invocations, Armor of Shadows to get the Mage Armor spell without spending spell slots, and Investment of the Chain Master to make our fairies even stronger. Level 6, we get a new spell, Mirror Image. We also get Misty Escape to use Misty Step as a reaction and either become invisible or deal damage to whoever is nearby. This was a really quick level. Level 7. We choose Summon Fey as our new spell, finally reaching level 3 spells. We also get 2 Archfey spells, Dominate Beast and Greater Invisibility, and 1 new invocation, Lessons of the first one. With it, we get another Origin feat, just like Lucky. And while this isn't the most powerful option, I think Crafter is one that really makes sense for Purple Bloom. The tools I get proficiency with are woodcarvers, weavers, and tinker's tools, although you can probably choose whatever and it would still fit. At level 8 we get a new spell, and this time is Dispel Magic, one I think he would learn because of his arcane history knowledge rather than fairies impacting his life. We'll also get another ability score improvement, and we're gonna take our charisma all the way up to 20, which is the maximum. Once we get to level 9, not only do we get new spells and an invocation, but we also get another class feature, Contact Patron, to talk to our fairy friends with the spell Contact Other Plane. As for the spell, we are gonna pick Magic Circle, and for the invocation, it's Visions of Distant Realms, to use Arcane Eye without spending spell slots. We finally get the last two Archfey spells, Dominate Person and Seeming. At level 10 we get another subclass feature, Beguiling Defenses, to be immune to the charm condition and deal damage to anyone who attacks you or your allies. We also get a new cantrip, Minor Illusion. With this, we get no more countries, but we are gonna still be getting a lot of new spells, so there's still a lot of room for that. Speaking of which, Mystic Arcanum. At level 11 we get Mystic Arcanum, letting us use a level 6 spell without a spell slot once per long rest. The one I'm choosing is Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron, which isn't a perfect fit, but it fits Purple Bloom more than the other spell options. We also get another spell, Vampiric Touch, which gives us another option to use in combat, even if it doesn't fit him as well. Level 12, another ability score improvement, this time increasing my constitution to 16, so that we can help in both HP and concentration saving throws. I also get another invocation, Eldritch Spear, which is the one that increases my Eldritch Blast range as I've just mentioned before. Level 13 is another Mystic Arcanum, this time for level 7 spells, and I'm picking Etherealness, a spell I can relate very easily to Fey Magic. As for regular spells, I'm gonna pick Banishment, to send them to the Fairy Realm. At level 14 we get our last subclass feature, Bewitching Magic. When we cast an enchantment or illusion spell, we can cast Misty Step as part of that action and without spending a spell slot. This ability works really well since a lot of our spells fall into one of those schools of magic. Level 15, Mystic Arcanum at level 8, so we're gonna be getting Glibness, a spell I honestly forgot existed until now, but it could be useful, it lets us roll at least a 15 in charisma checks. We'll also get a new spell at level 4 in Charm Monster, and the new invocation, Witch Sight, which is gonna give us True Sight. Level 16, our final ability score improvement, increasing our intelligence to 16. We could also have done Constitution to 18 to get more hit points, but I have something else prepared for that. Level 17, our final Mystic Arcanum, and we're picking the level 9 spell, Astral Projection. After an entire adventure, this spell will let Purple Plume see the land his fairies come from, which I think is a really good conclusion. We also get to choose our first level 5 spell, which I'm choosing to be Scrying. A bit underwhelming considering we just got a level 9 spell, but that's how Warlocks work. Level 18, our last invocation, and once again we're gonna be picking lessons of the first one, since there's not really one that I'd rather pick above that one. This time we're gonna get the tough fit so that we get some extra unneeded hit points. At level 19 we are going to get our last spell, Mislead, which is underwhelming for this level, but that's made up for with epic boons, which are super strong abilities that we get at level 19. We get to choose one epic boon, and I'm gonna be choosing the Boon of Fate, where we can add 2d4 to one d20 test per long rest. That includes attacks, skill checks, saving throw, or anything else that we would use a d20 for. We also get an ability score improvement by 1, but since that doesn't change our modifiers, since we already have them in a way that it's not gonna matter, I'm just gonna ignore this. You can add this wherever you want. Our capstone feature at level 20 is Eldritch Master, which makes us regain all our spell slots when using our Magical Cunning feature. Before, when I said that we'd only get 6 spell slots at this level using Magical Cunning, I lied. Really, it's 8, but I didn't want to spoil our capstone, so I had to lie a little bit. Also, it still feels like a very small amount to use between short rests, especially since in one combat we're only going to be using at max 4, so it's not really that great of an ability, if I'm being honest, because Pack Magic is really limiting, but hey, this is what it is. Time for some conclusions. Overall, I think Purple Plume is a really fun character. Since I don't really like the way that Warlocks do magic, I never really cared about the class as much as other spellcasters, but after making this, I've seen that invocations and extra features we get really help to lessen the issue. Besides, Warlocks are really easy to flavor and make them feel unique. Here, if I wanted to have a feature that feels like part of Purple Plume, I just need to add Fey aspects to it. Magical Cunning could be a moment where we talk to fairies, the Boon of Fate could be a fairy either helping or distracting somebody do something, Arcane Eye could be an invisible fairy instead of an invisible eye, helping you gather information, the list goes on and on. Archfey Patron specifically is one that I really enjoy making, since I really like the spell Misty Step. I don't think it's used at its best here, since one of the best uses I think you can give it is attacking someone with a sword and then retreating. So something like Pact of the Blade could have probably been better here. I just don't see Purple Plume using Pact of the Blade rather than Pact of the Chain, which is why I went with it here. But maybe in the future I'll make another Warlock where instead of using Pact of the Chain and other abilities that help those, we go full martial and we use Pact of the Blade. Regardless, I'm planning of doing more videos like this, even if it's not the Warlock, the another Warlock subclass, the one that I'm gonna make. So if there's anything that you want to see, make sure to comment. All 2 of you that do actually comment on my videos, and I'll see what I can make. I really do hope that this channel could at least grow a little bit. I really don't want it to be stuck in nothingness, although realistically that's what's gonna happen. But who knows? Maybe it's good for the world to only have one Spanish YouTuber who makes DnD videos in English. For now, let's make sure that we meet again. See you soon. As Purple Plume got to the back of the shop, the pink light stopped moving and slowly manifested into something different, something new. He had to rub his eyes to make sure he was seeing straight, but there was no doubt about it. What appeared in front of him at that moment was a fairy.